YouTube, what is up? It's your boy Duke, back here from sportsgamers.com, and in today's Madden 23 video, I'm going to break down this secret adjustment you need to use on defense to play perfect coverage. Now, if you're tired of getting beat over the top for one-play touchdowns, giving up streaks, having busted coverages, or otherwise just giving up huge plays over the top, then this is the video for you, because this adjustment is going to fix all of your problems, and it's something that nobody knows about, nobody does, but it's very easy to use, and it's very effective. So I run the 4-6 playbook on defense, but to be honest with you, the playbook really doesn't matter because we're going to be looking at the defensive play cover 4 quarters, which you can find in several different formations on defense. Personally, I like running this from nickel over the most. Now, this is a match defense, so you're going to want to go into coaching adjustments, and you're going to want to have your zone drop set to default so your match will work, your zone coverage adjustments set to match, and auto flip on. Now, if you play in the old systems and you don't have the zone coverage coaching adjustment, that's fine. If you just pick cover 4 quarters on the old systems, you'll already be playing match. If you're on the new systems, you do need to set your adjustment to match for this to work. So let's look at cover 4 quarters and explain the adjustment you must be doing in order to make your defense play perfect coverage. So in this video, I'm going to break down 3 different tips you're going to want to use, and they're going to be absolutely huge for you guys in playing better coverage. So first of all, I want to kind of go over what this coverage is supposed to do and then explain the adjustment you want to use to make it even better so that you can't get beat over the top. A lot of people kind of are scared to play match coverage because they don't understand how it works. They'll give up busted coverages, they'll give up touchdowns over the top, they'll get beat by streaks, and they just don't understand why it's happening. And this video is going to solve all your problems, I promise you. So now, before we get any further in the video, I do want to remind you guys that I do free Madden 23 tip videos and gameplays on my channel. So if you enjoyed this content, subscribe, like the video, comment. All that stuff does help me out a lot. Now, the first secret adjustment, the first tip I want to go over is changing your user assignment. Now, you always want a user, the linebacker, the sub-linebacker that's in the 3-rec hook zone. However, what most people don't know is that this coverage plays differently depending upon what your user's assignment actually is in. What I like to do is man him up to specific offensive players, and that's going to change the way my coverage plays. So I'm going to show you guys how this works. Let's get into the first example, which would be verticals. So guys, this cover 4 quarters is really good at defending the flats, the corners, the typical corner route concepts people use, but there's ways to bust it up over the top. One of the most common ones people will do is a streak route out of verticals to the outside bunch receiver. Now, if you just leave your coverage by default, it's not going to play this properly. Essentially, what's going to happen, you guys will see here in the replay, is that basically the 3 deep zones, the safety and the corner, the 2 guys on the right, and then the safety on the left, they get confused. So if you guys take a look at this replay, you'll see that this crossing route basically confused both of the safeties, and it allowed this streak that we hot routed by Calvin Johnson to just get wide open, because then the outside corner even thinks he needs to take the tight end late, and we're able to get a 1-play touchdown over the top. But that's no problem because we can easily solve this. Now, what most people will tell you to do is, hey, just put your safety in a deep half, put safeties in your deep halves or your inside quarter so your safeties don't match, and then you won't get bombed. Yeah, that works, but the thing is that's lazy, because then there's just other ways you can take advantage of the match coverage when your safeties aren't actually matching. Now we can get beat by all sorts of other things. The thing that can easily stop this that nobody knows about is simply just taking your user and manning him up to the slot receiver. Now guys, stick with me for a second here. I'm not actually going to cover this guy with my user. Just by simply me manning him up to the slot receiver, now I've made this defense bomb-proof against these bombs that people want to do at a bunch and tight. Because now if you try to do the same concept, and there's different plays you can do this concept from, but it's essentially the same thing. It's just going to confuse the safeties. But when you man up the slot receiver, they don't get confused anymore, and you'll see that that streak is no longer open over the top. I don't have to actually guard it, though, because, I can just sit over the middle of the field, do whatever I want. But simply by me manning myself up on that guy, the defense is now smart enough to say, okay, we don't need to get confused anymore. We don't need to have 3 people guarding the crossing route. He's manned up. So as you guys can see here now, we got actually a bracket coverage double team on the streak route. There's nobody really open here, and we get the pick. And still, you guys can see here that the left safety did match the crossing route. He was guarding him up until the ball was getting released, and he kind of like actually triple teamed the streak. So just to show you guys that one more time, you'll see that by manning your user up on the slot receiver, you're going to get this bomb guarded every time. And the best part about it is with this simple adjustment, you can still, and that was just a terrible throw, but y'all saw that it was covered again. With this simple adjustment, it still does let you guard corner routes. Looking to become a better Madden player and win more games? Check out sportsgamers.com. I built sportsgamers.com from the ground up to give you the best Madden tips, best Madden ebooks, all at the best price, bar none. We have a VIP membership that gives you access to the entire site, every ebook and every tip we release all year long for only $24.99. Click the link in the description. I've also pinned it in the comments, and use coupon code DUKE for 10% off your order. Guys, even if I man my user up to that slot receiver, if they try to run him off a corner route or something of that nature, it's not going to work. Another adjustment I like to make from time to time is to only rush 3 and drop one of my D tackles back into a bluff blitz. This 3-rec hook zone will also help me play over the middle of the field, better coverage. But as you guys are going to see here, we're still going to match that corner out, and there's nothing open there. We can't throw that. So that's tip number 1, is simply man up your user to get the coverage to play better to basically the player that's allowing your defense to break, right? If you're getting bombed because the defense is getting confused by a route, simply man your player up to that route. You don't have to guard him, and then your defense will no longer get confused. The second tip, don't be afraid to adjust your deep zones. Another very common play that's really effective against match is, everyone's kind of favorite play, the super deep corner route from PA shot seams, or, the Saints drive out, the tight formations, the super deep corner route. So if I just leave this defense by default, you're going to see that, that deep corner route tends to get open over the top because the match defender simply gets beat, right? Now, if you have a knockout, he can knock it out, but we don't want to rely upon that. If somebody wants to run tight formations and throw deep corner routes, the best thing you can do is adjust your deep zones on the side of the formation opposite the running back, because we know that's where the deep corner route is coming from. So what I like to do in these situations is simply put the safety opposite the running back, put him in an inside third, and then the outside corner opposite the running back in an outside third. Now, when you do this, what's going to end up happening is this guy right here will drop deep to defend the super deep corner route, and then this guy right here will kind of rotate to the middle of the field to shut off any seams, any posts, that type of thing, and we can, again, play on the 3-rec hook over the middle of the field. So guys, if you take a look here, you'll notice now if they try to throw this super deep corner route, I'm right there with that outside third, and then my safety rotated into the middle of the field to take away any potential seam routes, deep post combos, that type of thing. So we've essentially made a cover 3 adjustment on the left side of the screen here to take away this deep corner out, and as you guys can see here, there's nothing open. So that's tip number 2. The third tip, do not shade your match coverage unless someone is abusing the flats. Now, there's a common misconception out there that the quarter flats in match are basically just to guard the flats. That's not entirely true. Yes, the initial job of the quarter flats in a match coverage to cover 4 quarters, the quarter flats are supposed to take the first player into the flat. So like here, if the tight end went on a flat route, Night Train Lane is supposed to guard him. Over here, if the running back went on a flat route, this guy's supposed to guard him, right? The thing is, as we all know, quarter flats, they don't exactly get out into the flat super fast. So, somebody might just be able to chuck it in the flat, break a tackle, get some yards. That could be annoying. But you don't want to adjust to that, and shade your coverage underneath unless that's all they're doing. Because yes, if you do shade your coverage underneath, it does guard the quick flat throws better than a quarter flat will. The problem with that is if someone realizes you're doing that, and in a situation like this, maybe they send their running back out of the backfield, they put him on a wheel route, you could give up a 1-play touchdown because now there's nobody to defend the running back out of the backfield. Because yes, the flat will not match. It will take away the quick throw, but because the defense is matched, you have this guy matching on the outside receiver. This safety, he's gonna potentially match too. So there's nobody to guard the running back on the wheel route once he breaks upfield out of the flat. So if you are shading your coverage underneath, not realizing what you're doing, you're potentially giving up one-play touchdowns out of the backfield to running back wheel routes when someone knows what they're doing and they notice you're in match. So the way to get around that is one of two things. Either simply do not shade your match coverage if they're using routes out of the backfield that can go downfield, because if you don't shade your coverage underneath, the quarter flat actually will match that wheel route one-on-one out of the backfield. So if you guys can see here, he's right there. No longer are we giving that up. The other thing you can do is if somebody is hitting you potentially with a route out of the backfield and you're in match, but you still do need to shade your coverage underneath to adjust to what they're doing, in that case, what you need to do is you need to take the corner on the side that they can potentially beat you over the top and put him in an outside third. Because now that corner will no longer match that one receiver. He will drop deep in his outside third, and he will be there to defend against the wheel route, and you can still have your hard flat adjustment in order to take away whatever you're trying to defend with the hard flats. If they're just abusing you in the flats, but at the same time you gotta stop the wheel route. This is the best and most efficient way you can do it. So now, if they did try to send someone out of the backfield on a wheel route, we had the outside third to guard it, and the flats are covered at the same time. So you'll notice that this player right here, he does not match that one receiver anymore. He's going to make sure he stays back to defend a potential wheel route or whatever we could have. So if you'll take a look at the example here, you'll see that outside third is right there. If we try to chuck it, it's a pick. So these 3 tips and three adjustments are going to make a huge defense in playing perfect coverage, so you don't give up these huge plays over the top. You don't get beat deep. You don't give up streaks. You don't give up one-play touchdowns, because that is the absolute worst thing you can do in Madden 23 is give up free and easy touchdowns. If you guys enjoyed this content, make sure to smash that like button.